I want you to think about the last time you said something in a room and nobody reacted. Nobody laughed. Nobody responded. The conversation just moved on like you hadn't even spoken, like the air absorbed your words before they could reach anybody. That happened to me more times than I can count, and for a long time I told myself it was just because I was quiet, because I was introverted, because that's just how I am, but that's not the full truth. And if you're watching this, I don't think that's the full truth for you either. The real problem. Because here's what I've realized, and this is going to sting a little: nobody taking you seriously isn't always about how loud you are. It's not about being an introvert or an extrovert. I know incredibly quiet people who command a room just by existing in it. You feel their presence before they say a single word. So what's the difference between them and us? It comes down to something most people never want to look at directly, and that's this: you haven't decided who you are yet, and people can feel that. The deeper layer. When I was younger, I used to change how I spoke depending on who I was around. Not in a fake way, or at least I didn't think so at the time, but I would soften my opinions. I would laugh at things I didn't find funny. I would agree with takes I thought were completely wrong just to keep the energy comfortable, just to not rock the boat. And I genuinely believed I was being likable. I thought, this is how you make friends. This is how you fit in. But what I was actually doing was training everyone around me to not take me seriously. Because if you don't take your own thoughts seriously enough to defend them, why would anyone else? Think about the people in your life you respect most, the ones whose opinions actually land. I bet they have one thing in common: they mean what they say. They don't look around the room to see if it's safe to have an opinion before they say it. They just say it. And that groundedness, that's what commands respect. Not confidence, not charisma. Groundedness, the invisible ways you're undermining yourself. And there are invisible ways we destroy our own credibility every single day that nobody talks about. The first one, and this one got me, is over-explaining yourself. When you do something and someone questions it, and you launch into this long justification of why you did it, what you're actually communicating is, I don't fully trust my own decision, so let me convince you it was okay. Confident people don't over-explain, they make a call. They own it, that's it. The second one is laughing at yourself before anyone else can. Now listen, self-deprecating humor done right is actually a sign of high confidence, but most of us aren't doing it right. Most of us are preemptively tearing ourselves down so that if someone else does it, it hurts less. And people feel that. They feel the difference between someone who's in on the joke versus someone who's running from the pain. The third one, and this is the big one, is not following through on small things. You say you're going to be somewhere at 7. You show up at 7:45. You say you're going to call someone, you forget. Each one of these individually seems minor, but what you're building is a reputation, a silent one, that your word doesn't mean much. And once that reputation is built, it doesn't matter how smart or talented you are. People have already filed you under unreliable in their minds. The identity shifts. So how do you change this? And I'm not going to give you some surface level tip like make more eye contact or have a firm handshake. That stuff is so shallow it's almost insulting. The real change happens at the identity level. You have to make a decision, and I mean a real one, not a motivational moment decision that fades by Thursday. You have to decide that your perspective has value, not after you've achieved more, not once you've figured everything out. Right now, with the incomplete, uncertain, still evolving version of yourself that you are today. Because here's what nobody tells you: people don't wait for you to earn the right to be taken seriously. They decide almost instantly based on how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you respond when someone challenges you. And if you're waiting to feel ready before you start showing up that way, you're going to be waiting forever. Personal moment. I had a conversation recently, and I won't get into the specifics, but someone dismissed something I said in front of a group of people, waved it off like it wasn't worth engaging with, and the old version of me would have gone quiet, would have shrunk, would have replayed that moment for days trying to figure out what I did wrong. But I caught something different this time. I caught that I didn't fully say what I meant. I softened it. I half committed to my own point because I was still worried about how it would land. And the dismissal wasn't really about me. It was the natural result of a half-delivered idea. So I said it again, clearer, firmer, and the response was completely different. You don't get a second chance to do that in most conversations, but you get 1,000 chances across your lifetime. And every single time you show up and say the full thing, the real thing, the unfiltered version of what you actually think, you're rebuilding your relationship with your own credibility. Conclusion: nobody is going to hand you respect, and that's not cynical, that's actually freeing, because it means it's entirely within your control. Stop editing yourself down to a version you think people will find acceptable. Stop shrinking your ideas in the delivery. Stop treating your own thoughts like they need permission to exist. The people who get taken seriously aren't always the smartest in the room. They're not always the most experienced. They're just the ones who showed up fully, who decided that what they had to say mattered, and then said it like they believed that. You already have something worth saying. You've probably had something worth saying for years. Start saying it like you mean it.